Welcome,
Yes,
players of Giants, to Tilting at Windmills. I'm very excited about this show today.
I am Chrys Gorman, the Executive Marketing Director at NotAPipePublishing.
I'm Benjamin Gorman, publisher at NotAPipePublishing, and we're here with today's guest, Jonni Jordyn. Jonni is the award-winning author who was born in Oakland, California, started out playing music at age 2, and moved on to singing and acting in grade school. High school introduced writing and filmmaking, which were followed by drawing and photography in college. In other words, she's had a very liberal arts education. Jonni published some poetry and some ink media drawings in literary magazines while in college, won critical acclaim for her acting in a cabaret theater, but was faced with the decision to pick out the arts she wanted to pursue. Of all the available opportunities, music and songwriting won the first round when she found herself performing with legendary stars of the 60s and 70s. And round two began years later after leaving California for Arizona. It all started with a blank piece of paper and the question, how can I possibly write more than 11,000 words for a single story? A valid question, which was followed up a year later with, how did I ever write 160,000 words? So, welcome, Jonni. We're very glad to have you today.
Welcome.
oh, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, you have some big announcements. You've got a lot going on. Tell everybody about this month you're entering into of November. This is exciting.
Well, I'm starting the month on November 1st, where I'm going to a gala event to receive my Impact Book Award. I'm excited to be there, and it it is so. I mean, I'm talking about dress fittings. Gotta get my hair recolored, all the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got to fly out. Thankfully, it's in Arizona, not in Texas. But I got to fly out there and find someone to do my hair and makeup and make my appearance. Then midweek, I get a little bit of calming thing where my fiance and I we're going to go to a comedy show
Nice.
mid month. But then at the end of the month, on the United States Thanksgiving Day, we're flying out. We're going to fly to Ontario, where I have a book signing at a bookstore in Ontario, and we're going to get married. That's assuming I can get all the paperwork taken care. We've got all our proofs of us, but I got to get the Ontario stuff signed
Yeah.
and filled. But that's our plan.
Well,
And
congratulations. That is
specifically,
very
oh,
exciting.
thank you. And
And
yeah,
then
we're
you've got a
specifically
book.
going to. Hmm?
And
Oh
you've
yeah,
got a book
I have a new.
coming out too.
How could I forget? I have a new book that is coincidentally dropping on November 1st, the same day
Oh.
as I'm flying, as I'll be on stage.
So tell everybody about the book. I am excited about this too.
Okay, this book is the third and final installment of a trilogy. The trilogy is the mother of all viruses, and it started out with a stolen a piece of hardware that was stolen from a secret facility and given to a professor in a small college to see if he could re-engineer it, de-engineer it, and figure out what it is, what it does. And he had a genius young apprentice, a college student that did figure it out, and and they forgot about it. It was in the computer, and he's doing his experiments for his new professor, and they all of a sudden waken a digital intelligence that was embedded on this hardware. And the problem being that the digital intelligence, it used living circuits, so it was actually growing and creating this gel out on the floor. And ultimately, the book is full of crazy. There's kidnapping. There's Soviet scientists and people who've been embedded in for years. There's the CIA, NSA, FBI who are all trying to figure if they want to get this device back. They want to find out who's doing this. And on top of that, when they go and try to turn it off, they actually split this digital intelligence into two pieces. And the piece that was not internal kind of went crazy and started taking over the Navy in Crisis and Armageddon. Um, that in the second book, the same digital intelligence is meets other digital beings on his home planet. Uh, he's he's almost taken over. He's got one of them that is trying to get what he has, his power, and his power is growing to be almost unlimitless, uh, and which is where the third book takes over. Um, he meets the caretaker of the universe.
Hmm.
At first, it's just a little voice he's hearing in his head, but he meets her, and he several times he's going to ask, "So, are you God?" And she will say, "I've been called that." Um, and it's just so it'll probably get banned.
Right. Yes.
And
Yes.
that's on top of the fact that while he's doing that here on Earth, the young kid that was the genius that got him running is in hiding from our government because they want to know what he knows. They want to get a hold of and control this digital being. So he's running with a few people, and that whole series goes into a whole LGBTQ awakening and also a feminist awakening because he starts off, he's young, he's naive, doesn't understand the dangers that are posed to women when they're kidnapped and threatened with torture. Um, but by the end of his journey, he has learned and understands.
Yeah. Oh,
So
that
I
that
have
sounds
two protagonists, both of them on learning.
right. Yeah. Oh, that sounds right up my alley. I'm a big fan of M.K. Martin's Survivors Club, which is a virus apocalypse story. And then one of my books is also the kind of universal intelligence, AI program, the Digital Storm. So that sounds like this is very much in my wheelhouse. So I am looking forward to checking those out. Yeah.
And that, I mean, I like reading anything that's gay, but
Yes. Yes.
that's me. So
You want to take the next one?
yes. So this is my favorite question to ask, because I love the answers we get. Um, what is the most dangerous animal that you would be willing to risk your life to pet?
Whoa, that's such a good question because my fiance is fearless. She has a tarantula. She loves tarantulas, spiders, and snakes. Um, we were camping uh, during the winter, and I found a small jumping spider, and I'm thinking, let's get rid of the spider, and she's going, "Oh, he's so cute," and so I have been introduced into this world of spiders aren't menacing, they're cute. And I know that she's going to ask me to pet a tarantula. I know it's going to happen. It'll probably happen at this place called the Butterfly Pavilion, but yeah, it's coming. And
That is a true test of love. I would fail.
Yeah.
Your fiance sounds like my daughter. The entire childhood. Mom, can I have a snake? Mom, can I have a pet spider? Absolutely not. I want nothing that can crawl in my nose to live in my house. That
It's
is
a good
my
rule.
that is
ooh,
my goal.
It's a good rubric. It's a good way of
If
thinking
it can
about
climb in my nose, it is not a pet.
it. Yeah, yeah. I don't mind tarantulas. Like I'm willing to have one in my hand, but I wouldn't seek one out to pet it. I don't think of them as cute. Whereas I know
Mm,
some people love. I mean, yeah, our daughter Frankie loves
mm.
spiders, bugs, but
I spent summers visiting my aunt and uncle in Arizona, and I got everything I'd ever want to experience with tarantulas and scorpions. My summers there.
yeah,
No,
yeah. You
no,
you,
no
you
pet.
hit max
Pass.
spider.
Give me a good old polar bear any day.
Yeah, yeah. You'd pet a polar bear.
Um,
but no, my fiance's name is Ken, and and Kathy loves to send me pictures of these beautifully colored tarantulas, bright, shiny, beautiful colors. And okay, they're pretty, but that does he sews a painting, and I'm not going to go up and see if it's dry.
Right,
right?
exactly. Yes, this
Yes,
does not need to be touched. Yes.
yes,
Oh, yes.
yeah. Um, well, and on that note, so my follow-up, my next question is, what is something that you used to believe in that you no longer believe?
Hmm.
Ooh, well, okay, prepare yourselves. I don't believe in God. Now, I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school from
Same.
kindergarten through 12th grade. Um, I started to question mostly the Bible in the fourth grade. I'm saying, no, that can't have happened that way. It's got to be just a story, just like the parables. All of everything is a parable. It's a story to teach a lesson, and some of those lessons aren't very pretty. Um, by the time I got to the 10th grade, I had, and again, I got my teacher's a priest, and he teaches the whole class. Think back to whatever was the first thing. If it was the Big Bang, and in the 60s and the 70s, we were very open-minded about science and religion together. So if it was the first bang, then that was God. Now, I said things like, well, that means God is an inanimate uh, uh, thing that has no omniscience at all. That wasn't very well received. Neither was, you know, they tried the argument, if you say you don't believe in God, you're admitting there's a God that you don't believe in. And so my argument to that is, I don't believe in the Easter Bunny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of those arguments really fall apart. I found I am not a believer myself either. Was at one time, and they had a similar experience of losing my own faith, and but when I was in college, I studied philosophy and at a Christian university, and so a lot of the things we studied were these proofs, these kind of those rhetorical, can God lift a rock, can God create a rock too big for him to lift, kind of things, the various proofs for creation ex nihilo and that kind of
Oh, I
thing.
like that one.
Yeah, but a lot of them fall apart in a world of multiple faiths. You find that a lot of them really are about, is there kind of a creator?
Hmm.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't, even if there is a creator or a creator force, that doesn't tell us anything about her nature. We don't know.
Who is that actor, Ricky Gervais, who says, I'm an atheist and I don't believe in any of the gods. And if you believe in the Christian God, you're also an atheist, just minus one God.
Yeah, you believe in,
Yeah.
that all the other gods
I
don't
like
exist.
his,
Yes,
you
yes,
know,
you're an atheist minus one.
I'm with him and Stephen Fry on their beliefs in God. If God exists, he is a giant, words I can't say on the internet
Yeah. Yes.
without getting.
Yeah.
Well,
But what was that process like for
it,
you? Was that difficult, or was that something that just felt kind of natural when you were a teenager to go, this isn't for me? Or did that take a
well,
kind of deprogram?
I I was fortunate that in my early years, starting around the fourth grade, my mother said, develop your own beliefs. Um, and um, and so that made it easier for me to start thinking these things. Um, and and also, if you remember, in the 60s, I'm sorry, you're not going to remember, are you? But
You
in the
might.
60s, in the 60s, Rome introduced the Ecumenical Council, and they said, you know, why are we fighting each other? All faiths are valid. Ultimately, we're all going up to the same supreme being. And it was really open-minded. Um, a lot of that's been lost today. And I try to remind people in this other Christianity that hates everybody that their God is actually a demon. And but they don't like that either.
No, I can imagine they do not like hearing that. So,
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Just to say I'm working on a new t-shirt design that Ben is afraid is gonna offend some people.
I mean,
Um that it's an image. I'm almost done with it, but it's an image of the Bible and it just says I'm not a member of your book club.
yeah.
I like that. Love it. Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
mean,
yeah, that is something I used to believe in. because I was told to believe in it, and but now I see I I am open-minded and willing to believe that the um the Earth, the planets, rocks have frequencies which might, affect our lives. But I'm not there to say that there is a thinking, active, you know, personality behind it.
Yeah.
I align most with deism, the notion that there's an overarching spirit within the universe that eventually connects everything together. That's about the only religious
And
notion
I don't even go
that
that
I can
far.
accept.
Like I say I am dogmatically agnostic. Firmly believe that there are things that are unknowable to my little brain.
Yeah.
But what those things are, I'm highly skeptical of any kind of claims of the supernatural. So even, there's a, like, yeah, what evidence? Like, I'm very skeptical.
I think I don't understand how combustion engines and airplanes work, and so I'm sure there are a lot of things. Don't explain it to me. I won't listen. There's a lot in this universe that I don't know enough about to understand, but I think particularly in the times that we are living in, I like the notion that who I am as a person, the kindness that I spread out into the world affects the world in some kind of way. The notion that what we do is
Yes.
greater than myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that notion.
Well,
I don't like the notion of a God and the notion of the Christian God in particular and the punishment, but I like the notion that there should be something. Maybe it's that I wish for
Yeah.
this notion
Yeah.
that
Because
there
I
should be
acknowledge
something that
my,
forces all of us to
yeah.
acknowledge the fact that we are connected and dependent upon every living thing on the planet.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I wish.
Yeah. And I acknowledge my
yes, and
not comforting.
all those connections working, not even together, just on their own working. It's like, for instance, um, I'm old enough that my brain shuts off every now and then.
I'm ADHD
Um,
and that mine does it a lot.
You'll love the fact that this is a podcast, so I can clip that section out. It'll just be so smooth.
evolution. Evolution is what was trying to escape my mind. Evolution, if you look at it from the high view, it looks like it has a grand scheme, a design. It doesn't. It happens because of the way things work out, and they work out the best they could have been designed, but it's not a design, and that's how I see that, how we interact. Um, Ultimately, eventually, we will interact with people from someplace else, whether it's a dimension or a other, universe, galaxy, or something. But we all interact.
Yeah.
Well, and Ben's a little too, for somebody who loves sci-fi so much, Ben just cringes away from any notions of time travel or alternate realities or anything like that. He
I just
just
that's
nope,
that's for a very storytelling
nope.
reason. I feel like I love aliens. I love that kind of travel. But when it comes to storytelling, I feel like time travel always runs the risk of diminishing the stakes because the reader can feel like, well, why couldn't they have just gone back 5 minutes earlier and solved the problem? So I stay away from time travel because I feel like it undermines that's a storytelling peccadillo, not a,
Hmm.
reality peccadillo. But
Hmm.
so I wanted to ask you, what is something you've been
Oh,
daydreaming about lately?
I'm sorry, they cut off right there. What was that?
Oh, okay. What's something you've been daydreaming about lately?
Oh, well, besides my fiance, um, I I would love to think that this award ceremony is going to introduce me to the right people. Um, I have several books that I think would go well onto film, and I daydream about that happening before I die.
Oh yeah. I think all authors, well, I shouldn't say all authors, but I think a vast majority of us do that thing where as we're writing, where do you ever do the stunt casting where you're thinking, you know, which actors would be good for playing these roles? Like, we think about that. I think that's natural, you know, or
Oh
what
yeah.
score would go well. I'll think about songs and I'll go, oh, that would go really well in this scene if this were ever made into a film, which I know is incredibly unlikely, but it doesn't hurt to dream.
I do that when I'm reading. I take the
Yeah.
characters that I'm reading because I have ADHD. I can't, when somebody like written describes somebody to me, I can't actually picture what they're trying to describe. It's just a jumble of words. So I just kind of go by the vibe of the character and then choose an actor.
Choose an actor
Yeah.
to act them out in your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
that's
that's who
not
the
bad.
character becomes when I
Excellent.
book in my head.
So do you stunt cast? Do you think about who
I
would play the various characters in your
Well, yes, yes. My book, The Diva of Mud Flats. She's an opera singer, and she was kind of wrapped around Anne Hathaway.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yep.
Who has
Did
the
you hear
voice
that, Anne?
opera too.
Yeah,
Anne Hathaway's got the vocal range for that.
yeah, it might be able to actually
Ooh.
pull off the part.
Yes.
Yeah,
Um, and when I when I'm describing my characters, I keep the physical descriptions to a minimum of what you need to know. Like I have a magic series that's all about time travel. Um, but to satisfy you, the whole thing is that the time travel messes up everything. And I'm writing the last book right now that's explaining that they keep, creating these timeline shifts that is leading to the destruction of the entire planet. So,
I see. I would
yeah,
like that. Time travel not as solution. Time travel as problem. I like that.
yeah. But anyway, so the a young 16-year-old girl grows up in the bayou. She has blonde hair. That might be just about all the description that I have offer you. I let you, develop your own.
Yeah,
Um, this I try to portray the way they act and the way they talk to give you clues and hints like the old shopkeeper he's absolute Cajun and everything he says is a combination of French and French Cajun. So I don't have to tell you what he looks like. You can go ahead and figure for yourself.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes the dialogue is the description of the character, right? The way that they speak, it gives us an image. I think
Yeah.
that can be a
Yeah.
really powerful choice in writing. Well, let's go to our break, and when we come back, we're going to ask you a little bit more about how you've been kind of navigating what's been going on politically in the United States. So we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll dive into some heavy stuff. Sound like a plan?
Sounds good.
Unrelenting, Book 1 of the Grigori Cycle, was a finalist for the Book Pipeline Award before it was even published, and it won the New Mexico-Arizona Book Award for LGBTQ fiction. Now, Jess Hennard and Marie Parks are back with Undeniable, The Grigori Cycle, Book 2. Bridget has saved her sister Dahlia from imprisonment, but their reunion has come at an enormous cost. Their friend was murdered in the rescue efforts, and Dahlia herself is no longer fully human. As the sisters race to uncover the key to resurrection, Dahlia's former captors pursue them, coveting the ancient powers and seeking justice for their own fallen companions. Multi-Hugo award-winning author Mary Robinette Kowal called Unrelenting a tapestry of emotion that effortlessly weaves together the threads of grief and obsession. Undeniable will be available everywhere on October 28th, but you can pre-order your copy now. Your favorite lesbian vampires are back, and this time there are lesbian vampire librarians as well. Benjamin Gorman's The Convention of Fiends series brings together every kind of monster you've ever heard of, and many you haven't, in a globe-trotting adventure from an Irish crypt to a Scottish castle to a troll den under the Fox News headquarters in Manhattan. From the catacombs of Paris to a beachside villa in Costa Rica, a summer camp in Saskatchewan to a brothel in Bangkok, a secret lair under Angkor Wat, to an annual conference at the Bellagio in Las Vegas. The hunt is on. Everyone wants the deadly book that can kill its readers. Beginning with Book 1, Don't Read This Book, and continuing in Book 2, You Were Warned, The trilogy comes to a fantastic conclusion in Book 3, You People Are Monsters. New York Times bestseller Chelsea Kane says, I didn't know I could be turned on by a sex scene involving a dragon, but here we are. You People Are Monsters will be available everywhere on October 13th, but you can pre-order your copy now.
Welcome back, everyone. So you may have noticed Annika behind us. So we have a reporter who is doing a report about our lives, a little bit about our lives, and is recording us. And so we, those of you who watch the show know about Doug the producer. So we've got Doug the producer who does all of our editing. Thank you, Doug. We appreciate that. And we've got Annika. We have four people in the studio. So it's a bit of a busy studio, but it's for Johnny's episode. It's special. So that's, I think that's pretty cool. We want to welcome you all back from the break. You're listening to Tilting at Windmills, or you're seeing us on YouTube. And Johnny, I want to ask you about, in this era of rising fascism, as an author, you have a platform both through your work and through all of your marketing efforts. How have you been thinking about how you can use that platform to push back?
Well, I'll start off with last year, I pulled all of my books off of sale and I started revising them to put them under a new imprint.
Mm,
And as I was doing that, I was a little surprised how much feminism I had subtly lurking in my books. Like the bad guys are all led by men. The good guys are all, at least willing to have women at the top. Things like that, just subtle things I didn't even notice when I wrote it. Um, I noticed it now, and I am for the last 4 or 5 years, I have been introducing a a government with rogue people, and in my case, I made rogue senators that were going off hinge and black ops. Um, in my last book, I kind of let it all out. The president's involved. I'm not using any of our real people. I'm just saying this is how they operate on the right wing.
yeah,
And as far as living in this, I'm fortunate. I'm in a blue state. I'm in Colorado. So it's all a threat to me. It's not actually here. Although they're trying to bring it here, it's and it affects me when I travel.
yeah,
Um, I traveled to Tennessee earlier this year. But fortunately, and I was going there for work. My company's based in Tennessee, and fortunately, they're in Knoxville, which is like the blue dot in Tennessee,
yes,
and everything was fine. I had no issues, but I worry about that. I will not. I won't even let the airline pause me in Texas or Florida. I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not doing a connection flight or even just a brief stopover. Um, and so whenever I have to go places like um, to go to Ontario, I have to fly into Buffalo and then cross the border in a car. Um, so I worry about, I always have to look at where am I going through?
yeah,
And in fact, we're getting married in Ontario so that we don't have to worry about one of us getting sick as we're driving through Utah,
yeah,
and then we're not able to see our spouse.
yeah.
So
Yeah. And that's the kind of thing that, cishet white guy, I wouldn't have even thought of, but it's so important for folks to understand this level of fear.
Yeah.
Like that, I very much am cognizant of and aware of all of the, myriad kinds of discrimination that are, still barriers to people who are, married and don't have all of the same rights as other married folks. But I hadn't even thought of the fact that if it is an international license, it will offer a different kind of protection than a state's, which
yeah,
might not be recognized by another state.
Like, yeah, I
Yeah,
watched that. I watched that particular episode of Handmaid's Tale.
right, right. Yeah, well, I'm glad that you are able to do that. Thanks to Canada. Thanks, Canada. But that is scary to even think that
Mm.
we're at that place where that is necessary. Um, so, you're
I
talking about
I
that.
probably should point out for the viewers that I am a transgender woman. If it wasn't obvious, I am transgender, which is what puts the risk for me to travel to the red states.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what has that been like in terms of the way that you have worried you would be treated, right? I mean, the worry itself is a stress and is real, right? It's a harm in and of itself.
It is.
So what, what do you worry
Well,
about that you would face in a place like, if you were in rural Tennessee, right?
um, my first worry when I went to Tennessee the first time was that I can't use the restroom in the airport,
Mm.
and that's dangerous.
Yeah.
First place I go. But that would so those are the things I have to think about. And so I use the restaurant. I'm in there, and there's a woman with her three children, and she spoke to me. We spoke. So it is so comforting when someone says speaks normal and says, "Yeah, you're okay. We're
Yeah.
all okay."
Shows you
But
humanity and decency.
there is the
The fact that you can be in a state in the United States and be so surprised when somebody is showing you kindness and humanity and
Right.
decency is abhorrent. That's
Yeah.
it's
But
sorry.
you have to worry that you wouldn't be offered
Yeah.
that. I mean, that is awful.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm glad that
well,
you at least were treated with decency.
there is a news thing just came out the other day. Um, a a new law was voted in effect, put in effect that said, I think it was in Maryland, that that parents have the right to opt out their children learning about LGBTQ subjects. Out of 140,000 children, 43 opted out.
Yeah.
So so we have really loud voices
Mhm.
in the Republican Party that are saying, "Hey, nobody likes this stuff. We're all in agreement, and we think that Trump should get a Nobel Prize." Um, and the truth is, no, that's not what the people are saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you were just talking about this with a group of folks here in Spain where they were saying, How can this be?" And she was having to explain gerrymandering. How is it can that it can be that a minority of people are dictating the
How do
policy?
you explain the entire history of the United States, starting with Christopher Columbus
Yeah.
colonizing, the founding fathers doing the second wave of colonizing, slavery, the Civil War, gerrymandering, reparations, carpet, like how do you explain the entire history of United States and how it is an inevitable, how fascism is an inevitable response to all of that, to people that have a basic working knowledge of English. It was
Yes, in an
interesting.
hour.
In an hour and a
Yeah,
half. It
yeah.
was interesting. Yeah.
But also, I mean, really valuable. I mean, she came out
Yeah.
of there just
Yeah.
basically bouncing. She was so
Yeah.
excited because it was so nice to get to have those kinds of talks,
Yeah.
and
Well, and they
explain.
came out of there saying, we didn't learn about any of this.
Yeah,
They don't learn, the United States likes to think it's the center of the world, the most important country, the best country in the world.
Yeah,
Spanish students didn't learn. They knew who Christopher Columbus was. They knew who George Washington was. They had a basic working knowledge of of our Declaration of Independence, and that's pretty much it.
right, right.
Pretty
Which,
pretty much it.
unfortunately, there are a lot of Americans who are in the exact same boat. So,
That's
um,
true. Yeah.
so
yeah.
one of the things we
A slightly harder lesson, though, is that Christianity is a large part of colonizing.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
they they brought this they brought this
Yeah.
even this white nationalism with them as they came over from Europe,
Yeah.
and they tried
Spanish influence.
spreading in South America.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right. That is absolutely a part of the and to some extent it has been weaponized, and to some extent it is doing the weaponizing.
Yeah.
And separating that out is, nigh impossible, right? Well, it's a bit of a chicken and egg, and that's something that I think a lot of liberal Christians really need to reflect on. To what extent was this employed to do harm, and to what extent is this inherent? That might be really uncomfortable for liberal Christians to have to process, but I think it's something worth thinking about. So we also want to ask you about, um, the right-wing machine can overwhelm us with, you know, things that 5, 10 years ago would have been the end of the story, right?
Yeah.
That would have been the scandal that would have ended a presidency. And now the strategy that has been learned is when you're confronted with a scandal, create another scandal so that you make that one go off the headlines and you just create a bigger scandal the next day, right?
You can avoid releasing the Epstein files if you invade another state.
Right, you invade a state, right? And so it's, one thing after the other. So in that chaff, when all of that is being thrown at us, what are some things you want to make sure folks don't lose sight of, that you're paying attention to?
Well, there are absolutely people who completely buy the whole fascist argument. They believe it. They, in their minds, they think, yes, prices are getting better. Yeah, gas is better, eggs are better. And I'm no longer related to them. Uh, they, I lost them in the divorce.
Yeah.
But it's it's hard to fathom when you're an intelligent, empathetic person. To It's hard to fathom that. How can you think that? How can you believe that? I don't get it. Um, but they're there. Um, they're not the majority, and as much they're just the lemmings that are buying all the lies. I mean,
And they're the
I'm
last.
waiting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm waiting for the military to come in and say, no, we're not going to do that. Right now, there's a rumor maybe that some of the state uh, militia is ready to be on the other side and point their weapons at the immigration people coming in. That will be war.
I,
That will be.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm a little afraid of how that's going to turn out, because eventually it's going to spread into my state,
right.
and I don't want it to be in anyone else's state either. But I'm we have this my fiance and I, we have this plan that if it comes to that, we're leaving.
Mhm.
And we talk all the time. Where do we want to go? Well, Canada's close, and we have family in Canada. Um, but we kind of like Scotland, but the UK is having their own issues and that have to be rectified.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and the
uh,
UK is the UK has, I mean, this is one of those things that we looked into when we looked into moving is like where actually can we go? One, you have to have a line. Like you have to have a line. If this thing happens, this is when we leave.
Right.
And you have to be willing to say that line is non-negotiable. It's not, well, this happened, but maybe we can like there has you have if you're at all considering, you have to have a line. And then yeah, the big question is where to go. Just me personally, and I don't know what your immigration status and what pathway you would look at. I do know that when we looked into moving, the UK was pretty much out for us because of their requirements.
Yeah.
And so we looked much more, and why we settled in Spain was through the EU.
Yeah. But if you have family in Canada, I mean,
Yeah,
family is often one of the best pathways.
yeah,
And
well,
so if you can get in, that would be,
yeah,
certainly a path.
yeah.
technically, I should be able to pursue citizenship in Croatia,
Oh, yeah.
Mm,
uh,
I
and
forgot.
that would give me EU.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, and yes. She was just saying,
Oh,
apparently it's beautiful.
I have
So
heard.
if you do get a chance, even if it's just to
Yeah.
visit, people here in Europe are like,
Oh,
oh
yeah.
yeah, some of my students are like, oh yeah, I'm going for vacation to the beaches in
I've got
Croatia. I'm like,
places
you
saved.
live in Barcelona, we have beautiful beaches.
I've got
No,
places
they
saved
love
in my
Croatia.
Google Maps from Croatia that I've been told are just gorgeous,
Yeah.
just
So
gorgeous.
at least check it out.
Yeah. But I would say if you think you can do ancestry by or citizenship by ancestry, don't wait to start because
Yeah, get that process
the
going.
process takes a while, and why not have it
Right, so that you're
and not
ready.
need it?
Yeah.
Because I'm not entirely confident that Trump won't serve a third term in office.
Well, or like you
There are
said,
no rules anymore.
if we have, I've heard some of those same rumors where there are people who have said we will repel, if another state's National Guard is sent into our National Guard will keep them out. Well, that gets very dangerously close to a hot conflict, right? And Americans, I have met Americans who think that would be, they romanticize it,
They're
right?
very
Because
excited for the Civil War to finally
war is
defeat
is
our
something that
own.
they've only
Yeah.
experienced through movies, and it's elevated as though it's going to be this cool, fun, exciting thing. And I just think, have you not read books about
Oh,
what it is like to actually live through a war? It's awful for
yeah.
everyone. Like there is no winner in a war. It's just who loses the most. It is terrible. And so I hope people who hear me, talking about my frustrations with the regime and my anti-fascism do not think I am advocating for war. War is awful. If everything else needs to be done to prevent that, because it is terrible for everyone. And so I hope you do not find yourself in that circumstance. And I agree with you. If there's any way to be prepared to get out, should that happen, be as ready as you can be.
Oh, I'm of two minds. I'm right there with Ben. Like Civil War would be atrocious. It
It's
would be horrifying. There are people in that country that I love. There are people in that country that I do not particularly care for, that seem to, encourage the notion of a war. I think I know it would be devastating. It would be horrible. I'm not advocating for any war. Um, on the other hand, on the other hand, guillotines have been proven quite efficient and
Yeah,
tidy.
that's
So I'm
it didn't
I'm
didn't
not
it didn't
advocating for
it didn't end up
violence.
going well in France actually. So yeah, that's it
Listen,
starts
America
there.
is the greatest country in the world. If we can improve on everything else in the world, we can definitely improve on the guillotines,
Well, yeah,
right?
I don't
I
know.
mean,
Yeah, it would
How
end up being very dark times.
a laser guillotine.
Laser guillotines.
all I'm saying is we've tried some things and we haven't tried other things. And maybe before we try another civil war that we've already tried, maybe we should get creative and try something different.
I just think tax them into poverty. I think they would hate that more than losing
Yeah,
their heads.
but I mean, that is true.
Yeah, just,
That is true. But if
Well, yeah, I do
Elon Musk
promote
is being,
a slow,
yeah.
uh,
yes.
execution. But
What's the Edgar Allan Poe device that goes back and forth?
Oh, the
The
pendulum,
pendulum?
the
Yeah.
pendulum.
yeah,
Pendulum. I'm just saying, if Elon Musk is going to get taxed into poverty, he's going to get his little rocket and try to go to Mars, which I
oh,
don't,
I encourage that.
Yeah.
I do,
Absolutely,
I
and
encourage that.
and take all these others with them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that does
and
not.
I, I'll write the deed myself. Here, it's yours.
Right?
But
Right?
the biggest, my biggest concern about war is that Trump has already shown a willingness to invade democratic states and democratic cities.
Yeah.
Only democratic states and democratic cities. Um, he's got whether or not the army will follow through. He's got his finger on the atomic button, and he. This is the same man that said, "Well, why don't we just use an atomic bomb to blow up a hurricane?"
Right.
He will. He will bomb blue cities,
Yeah.
and um uh or at least he will give the order. So um
I
I,
don't know how much faith I have in my fellow man within the military
To not obey that order. Yeah,
within the
that's
military
very
and
frightening.
law enforcement. I think we all know the history of the military and law enforcement and which ways it tends to swing. And
yeah.
I don't know. You lost your belief in God I have in the time since started slowly after Trump's first administration, but in the time since his administration and particularly since moving, I have lost a lot of my faith in Americans, in citizens of the United States. I it's like seeing your family vote for Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing
And
people that say they love you vote for somebody that doesn't want you to exist.
Yeah.
And so I have, I personally turned to dark humor. Um, legal disclosure, I'm not advocating for building any weapons of murder. Tilting at Windmills does not advocate guillotine usage. Legal.
I mean,
Does that
for
cover us?
watermelons and that kind of thing, it's they're fun.
Yeah, Ben wouldn't let me build a guillotine. He thought I would cut my finger off.
Well, yeah, that's just me being practical. If there is an implement like that around, she would accidentally harm herself. So
The only time I cut myself was when you gave me a screwdriver because I was using a pocket knife and I cut myself with the screwdriver. So
it's a fact.
who has a better judge here?
I do have a terrible track
We
record.
went off the rails.
Before folks go into, we lose people entirely. I did want to ask you, as people are going into their week, Johnny, what's your advice for everybody as they are going into their week or their month like yours? If they're having a fantastic month like yours, what would you advise people to remember?
well, and this is hard, but I do have a fantastic month coming up. The world around me is in shambles.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I still have to move forward. I have to take my steps, and I have to be able to accept and enjoy my moments.
And
I
celebrate.
maybe
Yeah.
Yeah, I maybe everything's not great, but a few things are, and I do suggest that people do that, and enjoy the moments you have, hang on to them, and if you want to go to theater, if you want to see a movie or read a book, yeah, read a book. It's sometimes we need to escape from this, but do not duck your head in the sand. Remember, this all happened because some people said, "Well, I'm not political. I'm not following it. I don't want to vote." And I'll tell you outright, uh, the, both times Trump ran for office, I voted for a woman, and I strongly support that woman would have done a much better job.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Also, I just want to point out, if anyone's asking, why am I still here? We don't want to leave the granddaughter behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's legit. Like that's part of the calculus a lot of people are making, and that is very challenging, right? I honor that. Yeah. But I think that is excellent advice. Find those moments of joy.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. And you have a wonderful month and enjoy all of your moments of joy. Congratulations on the marriage, the book, and the big award. So
Yes.
I'm very glad to have had an opportunity to have you on at such a perfect time. You have a wonderful month.
Oh, thank you so much. You guys too.